Hello, everyone. Welcome to As Real Estate Com Dallas. I'm Yulia Brown.
Jennifer Loading.
Please, before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. We'll be more than happy to hear your comments and looking forward to hearing your feedback. So, Jennifer, who do we have today on our podcast?
We are super excited today.
Love You, Mean It Coffee. Yes.
Love You, Mean It Coffee. And you also have a very tasty podcast.
I do. Coffee with Kaylee. Yeah.
It's very coffee-like. So if you love coffee, this is your podcast, your episode today.
Very coffee-like. I love it. That's great.
We're very
Kaylee
awake.
obviously likes coffee.
Yes. Very much.
That's an important part in her life.
So how did you come around being with coffee and being so involved with it?
Well, I always knew I wanted to have my own business. But for me, everything has to have meaning and purpose. And so what better way to bring people together to build more meaningful relationships and connection than with coffee? It's a universal language. So that is definitely the catalyst to being able to build a community of like-minded individuals, connecting, having a good conversation, sitting down together. And then obviously coffee fuels everything. So
You put a little coffee in this, that's no longer dihydrogen oxide, it's coffee now.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and it was funny because this was on my other show, and I always ask what is your favorite food thing?
yeah.
And people, they'll say chips and salsa, and I got pasta yesterday, and I actually had somebody say coffee.
Really? Their favorite food?
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show
I mean,
you.
it starts with the plant, so that's fine.
Exactly.
I get it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's an important part of a lot of people's day. I've never been a
really
big
is.
coffee drinker, but it's so funny because everybody in my house drinks coffee.
Really?
And my kids love coffee.
Your kids too, and you don't. That's so interesting. I didn't start drinking coffee until I was like mid-20s, and before that, I just didn't think I needed it.
Yeah.
And I had natural energy, but then I learned about the benefits of it, and that's when I was like, oh, I can adopt this. And then not only that, but being able to go to the coffee shops and just experiencing that, and then the flavor, it just as you kind of get more into it and like taste more of the regions around the world and try different methods of brewing, it becomes more of a nostalgic thing because it's been around for so long, and everyone from all walks of life can relate to it. So it becomes meaningful.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely attitude adjuster too.
Oh yeah. No, for sure.
I have a funny story. I remember in my early 20th, I remember working at the furniture store. We start very early.
Yeah.
And somehow it was unspoken rule that Yulia does coffee in the morning. So I do my coffee and I finally pour myself a cup and I'm walking down, and I remember we just had brand new manager. He came up with me with some of the shenanigans, and I just looked at him and I said something, then walked away, and then he's like, look, you can't talk like this in front of other people,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you were addressing me about some crazy stuff, and I didn't even have my coffee yet.
Yeah.
It was one of those comical things, but
Yeah.
back in New Orleans, everybody's laid back. You can actually talk to each
Yeah.
other and not, big time or whatever. And it was just the funniest thing. So ever since then, the story was like, hey, don't talk to me. I didn't even have my coffee yet.
Yep.
A lot
No,
of people
it's
say
very true.
that though. A lot of people will do that. Like I can't move until I think or do anything until I have my cup of coffee. I'm like that with my green tea. Like I have
Okay.
to have green
Yes.
tea.
Yeah.
And I drink it in the morning.
Yeah.
And I do green tea 2 or 3 times a day. But
Oh, wow.
that is like when I sit down for breakfast, that's like my cup.
Your ritual.
And
Yeah.
I'm like that. I have to have my green tea like every single day. But
Yeah.
I want to ask you about your coffee. What makes this like your coffee? What makes it unique? I think this is great to tell our
Yeah.
listeners a little bit about what's kind of unique about what you got going on.
Yeah, so not only is it quality of life, all-encompassing lifestyle brand, but quality coffee. So it's organic, direct trade, naturally extra caffeinated. So it's called High Vibe. Therefore, you have higher vibes. I'm all about creating a better day for yourself, getting over challenges, having the right mindset. You're very much into this, right? So that's what's so special about it, is that it is a very premium quality coffee, very low acidity and a silky finish. So it has a very smooth elegance to it. And then we have some other flavors as well, and other roasters that we work with micro lots. So that's really nice. But yeah, definitely quality coffee.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah, which is important.
Yeah.
Because people that drink coffee, that is important. I mean,
Yep.
there are real coffee snob people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like they are particular about their coffees.
Yep, and I'm happy to say that I've had a few try the coffee
Yeah.
and definitely give their stamp of approval.
Awesome.
You know, so I feel good about that.
Yeah.
I want to feel good about the products and the services and the feeling that everyone is getting with whenever they're engaging and interacting with the company. So
Right.
Yeah, when you enjoy something, you definitely want to drink more of that. You
Yeah.
want to actually enjoy it versus just like, oh, that's just another cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Well,
I
and
mean,
there's cool benefits to coffee too. I mean, there are cool health benefits to coffee. So I think that's, you know, it's not just like where people are buying like a Dr. Pepper because it has caffeine in
Yeah,
it, you know.
yeah.
So I know a lot of people, you get kind of these mixed things, but there are definitely, you know, things like helping with metabolism and
Yep,
stuff
absolutely.
like that. So I've never been opposed to it. And even when I was, you know, doing keto hardcore, I don't
Yeah.
do keto any longer. I do low carb. But when I was doing that, you know, you'll hear about people doing intermittent fasting and they'll do, you know, like they'll have the bulletproof coffees and stuff
Yeah.
like that because they're great for those people that need that little bit of something and not mess up the fasting or,
Yeah.
you know, or staying in ketosis.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, and the important thing about that is if you're going to be consuming something on a regular basis, you want to make sure that it's as clean and pure as possible. So that's why having it organic is going to be very important. For example, like peanut butter is healthy, right? It is. It's very healthy. But if you go get Jif or any of those name brand
Yeah.
peanut butters and it's filled with palm oil and sugar, it's no longer healthy. So you're not doing the right thing. So for me, that was very important. That's why organic had to be in place because it's something you want to, you know, ritualize, have a moment of meaning with every single morning, however you traditionally experience your cup of coffee, whether you're meditating, journaling, whatever. But if you're going to be doing that consistently, you want it to be clean and pure.
And I
Yeah.
will say something about the peanut butter because we
Yeah.
buy a lot of peanut butter.
Yes.
We eat a lot of peanut
Same
butter.
here.
And our peanut butter only has peanuts in it.
Yeah.
So
peanuts,
I read the back
maybe
of the
some
bottle,
salt.
peanut
Yep.
butter.
It's all ingredients. It's all ingredients. So
Yeah, so you sounded like a brownie.
Yeah,
It's like brownie
absolutely.
boys. You sound like a perfect boy because I'm like peanut butter. We eat a lot of peanut butter. I
Yeah.
can eat peanut butter by the spoon.
yeah. Oh,
Like, I
I
love it.
the jars. Yep.
Well, in organic, that's a big deal because it's like buying a chicken. You want to
Yeah.
buy a whole chicken, and if it says something more than chicken on the back, you don't want that.
Yep.
It,
Yep.
it means you've got a whole bunch of other the Mendeleev table
Yeah.
in your chicken. It's like not something you want.
Yeah.
But also another thing you said is lower on acidity, and perhaps not many people know. Yes, we know that sugar is bad; it feeds cancer. But a lot of people don't know that also cancer thrives in an acidic environment.
Yeah.
So if you alkaline your body and if you enjoy coffee, because caffeine generally raises your acidity in your body. So if you already have a lower acidity to the coffee, that's a great deal. I would need to actually look into it because
Yeah.
my parents love coffee. So
Yeah.
I just need to make sure that
Yeah.
they drink the right kind.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
we'd
then
be-
also the way that you brew it. So like pour over, for example, that also significantly reduces the acidity level with any coffee.
What's a pour over?
But just the type of way, like a Chemex, so that hourglass shape thing,
oh,
the filter
yeah.
looks kind of bougie, but it's really kind of
We
cute.
have that.
I like that bougie.
What's wrong with
That's the only
bougie?
way that I do. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the only way that I do it now. You know, I kind of have grown into that. It wasn't always like that, but you know, the more you taste the difference, like wine, you know, you grow with the wine that you taste. So
Well, you're gonna
it
use
tastes good.
decanter for your wine. Why
Yeah.
not use? I just never knew what it's used to call. In Russia,
Yeah.
that's called turka.
Turka.
Turka. I'm guessing maybe because it came from Turkey somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And we are in Turkish Cafe Lounge, and if you ever come
Yes.
and you love coffee, try the Turkish coffee.
We did have their
The
Turkish
bomb.
coffee the other night. It was so good.
It was
Yeah.
great. So this is a little off point.
No, they have
Well,
great coffee
it's
here.
good because we forgot to mention where we were at today. So thanks for plugging that in.
Yes. And I just discovered this paradise. I don't know. I've been here for 3 years, right, living in Dallas, and I had no idea that this gem existed. You would never know that it exists here.
Right.
And then when you walk in, it's just this oasis that you walk out to. And we're looking at the whole floor right now, and it's amazing. So I have frequented this place quite often since the very first time. It's only been like 2 or 3 weeks, and now I consider myself a regular already. Like I drive from like I've been all over, and I'm driving all the way to Turkish Cafe for sure.
You can consider yourself local to DFW area if you know where Turkish Cafe Lounge is.
That's so true. I've had so many people on Facebook and Instagram are like, "Did you try this? Did you try that? I love that place." I'm like, "Oh, I had no idea. I was missing out on this gem in Dallas."
Well, you wouldn't see it from the road either. I mean, it's not something that you would know that, you know, because when you walk in this open space, it's like you just see this door, these 2 little doors, and you're like, oh, and then you walk in, it's like this, like you said, this.
And there's a creek, and there's trees, and there's fruit plants. I mean, it's it's pretty amazing.
It's a neat little place.
Yeah,
it's exquisite. So, podcast about coffee. Tell us about that. How did you get inspired from doing coffee and actually talking about coffee?
Yeah. So it actually is the opposite. So I knew I wanted the company. I knew it had to be a value add, right? So before I even knew it was going to be coffee that I was going to be selling as the product, I started my Coffee with Kaylee video series. It wasn't really a podcast at that point. So I just started giving straight value to people, picking out a quote from books I was reading, sending a message, and kind of breaking it down for people to dissect and implement into their daily lives to have better focus and better results. So that was the premise. Like, here's something for you guys, because growing up in the world of Facebook and Instagram, I know that when I come across something positive or just in communication with people, whatever value add or little gems that they share, if I like it and it resonates, I kind of stick it in my back pocket, right? Sure. So that was something that I wanted to do for other people. I'm going to collect as much that I can as I go through life, and I'm going to share it with everyone, because maybe it'll resonate with someone that day and it'll make a difference. And I've had that experience as well. So I started doing that video series, and throughout the process behind the scenes, I was developing the coffee side of it. So Limmy Coffee, Love You Mean It is the company. Limmy Coffee, I use the acronym to portray the coffee itself. But then that's when I started developing it. And then 8 months after, then I plugged in the coffee itself. And now our show got picked up. I say ours because it's Love You Mean It community. But the show got picked up by TCN. So we're going to hope that helps bring more eyeballs.
Exciting.
And bring more value to people, bring better talent and more perspective in to share with people and the audience, and just reach as many people as we can, and really have fun. So the premise is just to talk, have good conversation, and find out something about them that they can share with the world that might help someone else.
Wow.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love how the positive message is out there.
Yeah.
Because empowering people, especially these days, is very important.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. And what better way to have coffee in the middle of that, right?
Yeah. I mean,
everybody talks over coffee.
It helps everything. And then sometimes coffee and whiskey. I mean, you can really slice it and dice it so many different ways and experience it however you wish.
That's awesome.
My dad used to love making royal coffee.
Royal coffee? What's that?
Not particularly sure about all nuts and bolts, but basically the whole idea is there is an alcohol in the bottom. Then you light it up.
Okay.
And then you pour coffee into this lit up alcohol.
Oh, okay. I've seen the video. Yes.
So this is what he used to call
royal coffee. Interesting.
And it's burning. I'm like, I don't know if I want to drink it while it's burning, but it's cool to watch.
Yeah.
So.
It's a new specialty commodity. It's coming up in the world like wine. They're grading it differently. They're rating it. They're having contests around it. There's different ways to brew it. There's a lot of different things happening with it, and I'm still learning every day, about how to experience it even better, or what regions have what. But yeah, there's a lot to it, the coffee world, the industry itself. So, and
it's always been very intriguing, because even back in the royal times of Russia, I remember reading about coffee and tea used to be some of the highest and most unattainable things to have in your household. Yeah, it's like silk. You were able to have everything else, but silk, coffee, tea, rugs that made of silk, those were very much, you were bougie, if you had.
Bougie.
That's our word for the day.
We bougie out here in this humid.
Today we are.
I mean, I appreciate finer things in life.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I love that. And I mean, I guess these days we're always like, wow, you want finer things, this and that. I'm like, I grew up in a communist regime.
Yeah.
But still, it's like growing up in the family, we always went for art or something else. So I love finer things in life.
There's nothing wrong with embracing all of life's beauty.
If people can afford Ventega, hey, I'll go and be happy with you because that's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's cost more than most homes probably, but you know what? There is so much under the hood that makes you appreciate the car for what it is, for the creation that it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, that's why I love those things. And if you're gonna have coffee, you can go into a gas station and get you a cup of coffee for like 50 cents. Which you probably don't want to do unless you want to destroy the scent paper, your stomach with the scent paper coffee. But the thing is, it's like the finer coffee, and you can tell the big difference.
Yeah.
Because I'm a latte drinker, but still, I can tell the difference. You can put a bunch of milk in that coffee, but if it's not a good to begin with, it's not going to taste good.
Yep. No, I agree completely.
I love that. That is so cool.
That's awesome.
So, do you get a lot of feedback from your podcast? What do people usually comment? Do they love the message that you're sending, or you hear more about? Tell me more about coffee.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit of both, but I would say primarily it leans on the side of, thank you, I needed this today. That is literally the best thing that I can hear, and that is super rewarding because even if it's only one person that you impact that day, that one person can have the power to influence 500, 5,000, 5 million people. You just never know who they're going to touch from that point, or what that change, or how that changed the trajectory of their life. So my favorite response, which happens to be the most common response, is thank you, I needed this message today. So and I really haven't structured it out to be anything like linear when it comes to the premise of each episode. It really has to do with maybe what I'm experiencing in life, what I'm reading, what I just learned. So as authentic that I can speak to that message is how I create the show.
It's like as real as they come, Dallas, the coffee edition.
Exactly. As real as they come.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And do you have any people that take after you? Do you mentor a lot of people as well in this business, or?
No, not yet anyway. I haven't even thought about that. That's an interesting question. I guess I would say by power of influence and being able to connect with people that I possibly do that in their personal life or their business life, because I do consulting and everything that I do comes from within, and so I communicate to whatever specific needs they have, even if it's just a stranger in passing, but not specific mentorship or anything of the sort. I am partnered with another company that provides a more in-depth analysis of that with stats, data, and procedures on how to better your life in different areas.
Nice.
So BU. But that's the company.
Yes, we know, Georgia.
BU Revolution. But yeah, so they offer that, and then I'm surrounded by a lot of people like you ladies who offer very similar, influence. So
thank you.
I continue to just put myself in those situations and surround myself with the right people, so that when people come along and they need something, I'm able to connect the two.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And having mentors is great too. I have a fun question, just because my brain's kind of thinking here. My wheels are spinning. What were you doing before because I always feel like there's you have these inspired moments where, you're like, I'm going to just create this business. And so you kind of told us how the podcast or how that originated and the coffee. What were you doing before you were doing the coffee? So where were you?
So born and raised in Southern California, and I was doing philanthropy consulting for 7 years. Okay. So we would essentially, it's very niche. We would connect celebrities with charities around the world. So it would be, PSAs, red carpet events, gifting suites, cause marketing events via social media, a lot of event curation, a lot of bringing the two together to raise funds and awareness for the charities. So that was a lot of fun, but I really enjoyed putting it all together and like creating the atmosphere, creating the feelings of like, this is so much fun, seeing a smile on everyone's face, you know, and that was what really resonated with me, is creating another space for someone else to feel good. And that's kind of how I've been growing up, is if there's someone being picked on or something like that, I would always try to turn that around, or just make them feel comfortable, good about themselves. So that's where it started. It started with just an innate passion to make people feel good. And then having gone through that experience of philanthropy consulting and the event side of things, and seeing everyone's face light up when you create this magnificent event, that really helped. But the moment that I knew that it was going to be, I actually had preconceptualized the fact that it was going to be coffee, but not really knowing that that was going to be it years later, because I was living in El Segundo by the beach with 2 roommates who introduced me to really good coffee, and we would open up the windows and have the beach breeze coming through, and they would make this fabulous coffee from all over the world in a French press, and we'd have great conversation, and it was perfect. And I literally remember saying, I'm going to replicate this moment for other people. I want everyone to experience this moment. I didn't know it was going to be coffee then, but then like 5 years later, that's what happened. So
thoughts have power. They materialize.
Yep.
Beware what you think about. Beware what you speak.
Right. No, well, what's interesting about all that, and the reason I asked you about that, is because when you're talking about like what you did before and what you're doing now, you took the very things that you liked in that other area and brought them to life in this. And so that's why I wanted to find out, what were you doing before that? Because some people really, like, I feel like, you know, when they have these big inspired, I mean, I'm kind of that person. Like, if I have an inspired, you know, idea to do something, I like run with it. Like, that's just how I am. But it's so interesting talking to people, because a lot of times they're in completely different, like, realms, like in different worlds when and then they go into this other thing, and it's completely different than what they've been doing. So you really, I mean, we're kind of essentially doing what you're gifted at. You've kind of been able to do that for a while. You just found the best parts and brought that to this company that you're doing now, and getting to share that through your podcast and your product. And the connecting. Yep.
I mean, the mission has always been the same. The vehicles change. Right. Absolutely. So that's all that it is. The mission's always the same. It's really sad to say in the world of business, but I don't look at my competitors, and I know that's a thing. Study your market, study your competitors. I get certain elements of that when it comes to statistics. Perhaps you don't want to recreate the wheel, follow success blueprints. I understand all that, but really, it's like, what do I want to share? Like, it's deeper than that. You know, it's not just a strategy.
I get it.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So
what's coming to mind right now was that the Michael Phelps in the Olympics a long time ago, when he was in the line, you know, swimming with the competitor, and the competitor was looking back, and he was just like focused on going forward. So like, that's what I'm thinking about when you're saying that, because yes, when you need to know certain things, I think, in business, and it's good to know what your competitors are doing, but a lot of times I think in business people get so hung up on what their competitor is doing that it really becomes like the passion is, how do I beat the competitor, instead of focusing on what value am I trying to pour out, what am I trying to create. Like, I'm getting exactly what you're saying, because that's how I operate. I don't care what anybody's doing, because here's the thing. People are going to be drawn to you for a certain reason. They're going to come to you for something. Something that resonates with them. You will never be that other person. You'll never be that other competitor. You're going to be Kaylee Ocampo, selling your coffee, and adding your value. And I think my pillow just fell off the back behind me. I'm like, it just went flying. This is as low as they come down. But the cool thing is you have your own authentic style, and people are going to resonate with that. And so,
and why do the same thing anyway? Just like create your own path, and you know, take little bits and pieces here and there, but really just do what you want to do.
Exactly.
And I heard that also that happened to me. And well, why aren't you looking after this person? Look, they're doing this much, and this person's doing this much. I'm like, I don't want to get caught up in the race with someone.
Right.
I want to wake up bigger and better Yulia. And that's the only person I know how to beat from the day before.
Exactly.
Because I admire what people can build for themselves, their empire. But Yulia has her own path. Kaylee has her own. Jennifer has her own. We all have our own paths. And if we can be harmonious and move forward, of course we're going to have mentors and people that will push us to the next level. But you don't want to wake up and drink your coffee and get it all clouded with, oh, my competitor got 50 million in sales. How can I get there? It's like, no, this is not the way to live your life. I love your perspective too. It's phenomenal. And
thank you.
Just like Phelps, there was another one about the race that I actually told that person. I was like, well, do you know there was a race? I believe it was either in his 60th or maybe even 70th. And it was two gentlemen, the fastest gentlemen, were running. And one of them was already winning, but looked over the shoulder to see where the other one was.
Yeah. You just
don't look behind you. Stay focused.
Stay focused. Stay on track. Do the best you can today so you can do more tomorrow. And just move forward. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Well, and I think there's something to be said. I think, that a lot of times people think dreamers are just, like they're out there and they're not really looking at anything. But I think, I always talk about this, that when you're focusing on what you're trying to create in the big picture, if you're scaling everything, you're worrying about from point A to point B to point C to point D, you're losing sight of the big picture. And a lot of dreams are birthed and lost because people start scaling everything. They start trying to figure out, like, how am I going to get from point A to point Z? And all those steps in the middle, they just get overwhelmed and they just go, forget it. So I always joke, I always tell people, I'm like, my husband will be like, so have you figured out how you're going to get there? I'm like, no, that's not my job. Like, I'm going to get there. That maybe you want to scale all that. You can do all the scaling. I'm just going to keep dreaming about the vision and the big picture where I'm going to go, and I will get there.
And that's exactly how this is all unfolded for me. Just sticking to that plan, that vision, the ultimate vision, and taking the path and accepting the journey. Accepting is so key in the process, because if you don't accept, and then that's when you start comparing, and that's when you start getting in your head, and you gotta let it go. It's hard, but if you put blinders on, it helps.
I love that. We used to talk about blinders all the time. Put the blinders on.
Don't
look to your right, don't look to your left, look forward.
Exactly.
Where are you going? Stay focused.
Don't be afraid of your own dreams.
And that too,
I love it. So when is your show? When's it rolling out?
So we are in the process of finishing up the studio right now, out in Fort Worth at TCN Studios, and that's the Country Network. And it's not it's not about country. That was the reason why I fit so well into that, is because they wanted an all-encompassing lifestyle type ordeal, and especially someone who's women, entrepreneurial, online, millennial. Even though I don't want to categorize, but the younger youth. So that's what that is. They're building it out. We should hopefully have the pilot shot by next week or the week after.
Oh, so it's coming up pretty quick.
Yeah. So it could be local, nationwide, any talent or person of interest who has something to share. From the heart, and who's willing to come on, Zoom in, or come in live and sit down and just have a good conversation and provide some value.
It's awesome. We're excited for you.
Thank you.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, thank you.
We definitely need a lot of younger people that willing to inspire other people to move forward, do something with your life, and not be afraid to dream.
No, I agree. I think that there's a big shift of that happening. However, I my personal pulse on it is that there is a big shift of people taking more chances because of what we have access to these days. But then, because of what we have access, it's inhibited some and kind of sheltered them because they're unfamiliar with risk taking, because they're hidden behind things, right? So I feel like it's split 50-50. And we're at a very pivotal moment in that mindset of, are we going to go this direction with more entrepreneurs, or are we going to kind of clam up and then freak out and overwhelm ourselves and hide? And
besides, because we have so much information available, we also see that there might be other people doing it, and we'll see, 5 more people do it, 10 more people, 20 more people, but we forget the scale. To scale is very important. Okay, it might be 20 people in your network, and because you are interested, you probably will have those people surface, but it doesn't mean that 20 million people in your area doing this. It might be 20 people, but you live in a 7 million population. So what is 20 people for 7 million? So don't be afraid to drink.
That's where the blinders have to come back on.
Yeah, they gotta keep the blinders on. Do you know how many coffee companies there are?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if I sat here and thought about, well, it's already been done before. Okay, well that's why I don't look at what everyone else is doing, because then I can add something different, because we all are very unique. So I think that's the most important thing, is just for people to believe in themselves, accept where they are, and just push forward. Period.
100%.
Super simple.
Yeah.
And I prefer smaller coffee, even coffee shops.
Yeah.
I prefer smaller one. I know there's a huge tycoon Starbucks, which is shout out. I love the lattes, but I do prefer a smaller one in Allen, Frog Cafe. I love that little joint. And
oh yes, I love that. I just went there for the first time. It's so cute.
And they got creperie, so it's French inspired. And I really would love to chat with the owner when the whole COVID goes away, or maybe sooner, and just learn more, because I just love the environment. Before the COVID, they used to have that beautiful cup with the cute little leaf on your. Oh my gosh! I was like, why did you go for paper cups now? But I understand the whole pandemic situation. But hopefully they'll get back to their normal selves with the cute little leaves in my coffee.
I know. I can't do that, but I have Cocochinos. You can drop it in there on your little latte at home, and it'll slowly seep in. It's
nice.
Pure organic, gluten-free, dairy-free, chocolate, cocoa.
Wow.
All the extra stuff, all the check boxes.
I am getting that. I'm sold 100%.
Yep.
Organic and free of dairy and everything else. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Try to offer quality products. So, and we have CBD. So
well,
the product line is definitely expanding. It's not just coffee. Again, this is a lifestyle thing. Whatever makes your life enhanced, better quality, better focus, better sleep, whatever it is, we're going to implement that. So that's definitely part of the process.
And CBD, you get start high, finish higher. That's awesome. That's totally amazing. So are you planning on having your little coffee shop in the near future, or in the future at all?
Possibly. It's all online right now. I would say I probably want to have more of an event side of things, bringing people together for fun community events, to engage and take that kind of on the road, or maybe, once we're in the success realm of being able to hire someone to open up a shop and have to manage it, then because I would like to create that space. So either whether it's just events that are kind of pop-up events, or if it's an actual shop, that's to be determined. But everything's online right now. So
very good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Living on the fast line. Like the Eagles living in the fast lane. Now we're in our 2020 and we're living in the fast line.
This year is not going fast, that's for sure.
No.
It is, but it's not.
It's been a crazy year, so definitely. Well, we're excited for you. I'm excited to see your show roll out.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for being as real as they come, Dallas.
Thank
here
you.
At Turkish Cafe Lounge.
Yes, thank you so much,
Definitely
ladies.
a phenomenal conversation. We're looking forward to hearing feedback from our fans. And definitely don't forget to check out Kaylee's Coffee. Love you, mean it.
Yes, love you, mean it. LymiCoffee.com, LYMI coffee.com.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, love it, everything. Thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.